Alright, Dragon Gaming Kid Fun Gaming here. You guys know the drill. I'll probably refer to this video more than once throughout the coming year. Now, why am I bringing this video up? Did I just look at this a while back? Yeah. Now pay attention. You need to listen to some of my details and stuff that I'm about to point out. 2019 is going to be a big year. This channel is going to be doing some big changes. 2019, I'm going to be doing face reveal Q&As. I'm going to be hopefully growing the channel as big as I can. I'm going to be stretching up, doing a lot of things. You guys as viewers and as people are going to be changing, both physically, emotionally, and stuff of that nature. Myself, the person behind the screen, is going to be changing. Now, stuff of that nature is happening. Now, you probably are wondering why I'm going back to this video. As I don't think this is an issue that's shown up too much in the bright light as much, and it doesn't really get talked about too much. And I think that's a major downside in society. If we talk about this, let people know about it on a regular basis, not just once a year or once every 2 years, stuff of that nature. Or if you're at my school, once you get to a certain grade, you get to know about this sort of stuff. Then, we're gonna, be a better society. And if anyone is wondering about that school thing, that was 8th grade. I'm high school now, so that was like 2 years ago. This is sweet. But we're gonna look at this and we're gonna take it bit by bit. I'm going to express it a little better. For those of you who have not that many clues, that the game theorist lost one of their major editors and most notable people. That isn't Matt, Steph, or anybody else that matter. And this was back in July. If we look at the video, no, I don't want to do that. I want to start at the beginning. It says July 25th, 2018. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. I need to stop doing that. Oh, joke aside, but he's basically stated that he had a huge number of videos and stuff of that nature. I did in fact cover this a little bit in one of my Dragon's Lovely World episodes. Yes, I know I need to change that, but as right now, that's what it's called. I need to think of some better way to say it than Dragon's Lovely Realm. That doesn't sound good. So, I did mention it back when I heard about this, that Ronnie Edwards, I think the title is Game Theorist News, and as respect to Ronnie, I added him in my Love Garden, which, whether or not I change Lovely World name or not, that's not going to change. The people I've added in it, the design, that's not going to change. Unless I find a good design I'm happy with. All that aside, let's look at this.
It's funny because even back then, these videos fast now, obviously, research is a big purpose, but the thing that most was editing. I had no idea what I was doing. Base video editor that came with my laptop at the time that had absolutely zero functionality and crashed.
If you're wondering what's with the random audio and stuff, Yeah.
No exaggeration, 1,000.
If anyone is wondering what's with that, if you experienced any audio change, I'm doing this with headphones. I was thinking, I could probably unplug it to see if the audio's better. Like how it was. Yeah, I still have the headphones on, but still. Then I decided to put it on back, and I didn't like that. So we're just gonna leave them off. Don't want to strangle myself. There you go.
Photoshop files with things just moved a pixel or two at a time. The long story short is that I wasn't very good, and I wasn't very fast. And I learned pretty early on that if I wanted the channel to grow at all, that I needed to produce more videos faster. Enter Gaijin Goomba and Ronnie Edwards, two of my fellow creators who had reached out for help earlier that year. Goomba wanted to find more people to watch his show Gaijin Gamer, to which I responded, "Hey, Goomba, no one really knows or even understands how to spell Gaijin," so thus his show became Game Exchange.
Yeah. So, basically what he's about to go into is the story of how Ronnie Gaijin actually became a part of his channel, and that is important to understand the rest of this video.
Ronnie, meanwhile, reached out to me after the third episode of Game Theory, which was on Illusion of Gaia, just because he was excited to talk to someone who was equally passionate about such an obscure SNES title. What was supposed to be an hour-long interview ended up lasting 3 hours for this podcast that he had just started. Funny enough, that was actually my first ever interview as a YouTuber. Both guys were passionate about fusing education with gaming, just like I was with Game Theory, and I realized that the three of us working together had a better likelihood of helping us grow than if we were all working separately. So, I asked them to join the channel. To their credit, they said yes. They accepted my offer with little more than a handshake and a promise to deliver them their ad revenue at the end of every month. Times were different on YouTube back then. So with that, at a whopping 10,000 subscribers, Game Theory transformed into the Game Theorists. It became clear that Ronnie liked editing more than writing or hosting, and since, like I mentioned, I sucked at editing, he just
Basically, he's saying, as I mentioned in the last portion I talked, he's now just setting everything up to lead us with the news, which the title is different than what it would have been. It's called Losing the Battle and not a Game Theory title type of deal. And if we read the description and listen to more he has to say on the subject, we find out suicide's involved. I'm not going to spoil it too much.
Focused most of his time on editing for Game Theory. We called it the Editing Dungeon. His first episode was The Cost of Minecraft Diamond Armor. And I remember sitting there watching the first draft of that episode, and finally, for the first time, seeing Game Theory in the way that I had always envisioned it looking. His experience and skill with animation and illustration was able to accomplish things that in 2 years of working on the series I had never been able to do. But finally, Game Theory was looking the way that I had always envisioned it looking. It was doing things that I had wanted to do and just didn't have the skill to execute on. And for the next 5 years, Ronnie was our go-to editor. A silent hand behind a huge number of the videos that you see.
He is now trying to show the impact that Ronnie had. Being the go-to editor, they trust you enough and they like you enough to have you edit their stuff. If I'm a go-to personality, talking and stuff like that, especially on topics such like this video, then people would trust me enough to be able to deliver something. If it's supposed to be emotional, I'll be able to pull off something emotional. If it's something to explain the point, then they trust me to be able to explain the point. Whatever it is they have me on. And the fact that if you're a go-to person, you're most likely going to be a big part of whatever you're helping with. Segue to rest of the video.
On this channel, on Film Theory, and all the other theorist channels. That's why it shatters my heart to tell you that on July 4th, Ronnie was found.
July 4th, 2018. I'm not even going to continue before I let you know this detail. I had zero clue. 75% or more of the theorists didn't know this, and I was just shifting position. But we didn't know something bad behind the scenes of game theory had happened until this video showed up. This was different. I was at summer camp learning all the merit badges I could. It was a Wednesday. There was a parade. There was fireworks. I was trying to sleep, and the fireworks down at the lake were trying to keep me up. And I had a big day of merit badges to earn next day. That's why, if you go back that far on the channel, there's not a video or anything of that sort of mine. The only other video that happened right about then was a Gotcha World video by Roscoe Wolf, or Gotcha Roscoe right now, is what he's calling himself. And it was called Happy Force, and, basically, there was a little bit of Gotcha World in there, which was, it's actually still to date, the only Gotcha World stuff I've ever put on there yet. So that's going to change in 2019. I'm going to put some Gotcha World on there as well. But to point this out, by the time they found out that Ronnie was gone, I was not at the house. I wasn't making content. I wasn't on YouTube the whole entire week. First to the Sims, and Roscoe Wolf was here as well, and the rest of the game theorists were just going around doing their own thing. That's when this next piece of news hits.
Found dead. A victim of suicide. We found out 2 days later. We had been communicating about a project that he was editing on. He went silent for a couple days, and so we went to his apartment to check up on him, only to be met with a coroner's notice. The next day, Stephanie and I were in the hospital about to have our first baby. As you can imagine, it was an emotional weekend.
As I mentioned, it would have been a normal week for anybody else. Myself, as I mentioned, I was at summer camp. I was doing pretty much summer camp stuff, and I didn't come back till the summers. And in case anyone is wondering about the summer camp thing, I loved it. I recommend going if you are going. But enough about that, The whole point of that is it was a normal week and a normal weekend in the summer to anybody else. But to the gamers, the game theorist and film theorist family, they just lost one of their team members. Matt and Steph were just having their, first baby, which is all for. So when you have a death and you have a baby directly after, not only do you have a death which brings you down, your spirits down, you have a baby, and usually, if it's a newborn, usually your spirits are brought up. So, and in between that, you've got all the shaky bits of childbirth. Don't ask how I know any of that. Basically, there's a whole entire emotional roller coaster throughout the whole time. You go from the lows all the way up to highs, and then all the shaky stuff in between.
And it's been an emotional roller coaster ever since. I've been wanting to do this video or say something for the last 2 weeks, but we wanted to hold off on a memorial until we were able to contact his family and get their permission to do it. But Ronnie had a really rocky relationship with his family, and so...
If you're doing something of that nature, when you're covering something of that, you always want to try to get permission from the person first, because it may not be okay with their family. Today, I may be here, next day I may not. And if a friend of mine decides that I may collab to at this point wants to say something about it, most likely they'd want to try to talk to my family, see if they're okay with them saying stuff about me like that. And letting them know, hey, would it be okay if I talked about this person? I know you're going through a tough time, but would it be okay? And whether or not it's okay or not, grief goes on a while. Usually it tones down after a while. I should know that. I have lost way too many dogs, and yeah, I know dogs aren't the same thing as humans, but the same grief roller coaster goes the same. And especially through the emotional roller coaster I had 1 year. August 14th is a day I'll probably never upload because I'll remember my black lab, Kylan. And that is, she had blastomycosis up to this point, and the vet has said they'd rather be treating cancer than that, which, looking into it, is actually a fungal infection that, a lot of the higher end stuff that's going to combat it better are going to just, they're going to be expensive. It's not that they're not going to work, they were expensive to get your hands on. Especially if you're a middle class person, fighting something like that is really going to be trying to get out of your pocket. August 14th was the day my parents put that dog out of her misery. That poor dog. And she had grown up with me since maybe 8, and I was only at 6th grade at the time, so that's like that's when I first got her. I'm in tennis now, so that would be 4 years, right about 4 or 5 years. So this right about then. I just started my 6th grade year. That happened. The next day, I got a dog, a little puppy actually, by the name of Jake. I refer to him as Jake Classic because the other Jake I have, which is one I've shown on the channel before, one is sleeping right on the bed behind me as of recording this thing, and 2, he didn't come until after all the other heartbreak stuff happened. And I've lost dogs like Princess due to cancer, and if I do a drama life, we'll get into these more in detail. Dory, poor dog, got ran over. Mary, she got her head stuck in a milk jug. Worst way to go out. Kylie and I said, went to the, got put down. Basically, she would have been way too much pain with the stage she was in, and they decided to put her out of misery without me knowing until later. So, and then you guys, if you've watched since like May, you know about the dog Roscoe being buried, and we have zero clue what happened to him, but I'm assuming it had something to do with being hit because he used to drive on the road. But before that, we also had a dog by the name of Jake Classic, who we're assuming he got ran. Alright. No, Jake Classic, we don't know what happened to him. We're assuming he got hit by a semi, because I lived on the back. And as I mentioned before, if I go into do a draw of my life, I'm going to go into detail a little bit better. But the whole gist is, I've dealt with grief a lot, so I should know what it feels like, and I should be able to explain it to somebody like I did just then. So I know what they're going through, especially what I mentioned with the West of My Costa song being put down and getting the puppy day after. You know, that's definitely an emotional roller coaster. And I got the dog Jake that I showed on camera. He was originally called Jake Jr., and now we just call him Jake. On October 30th, day before Halloween, and that's also the same day that Jake Classic died. Rest in peace, little puppy. And that was like 2 months after I got him. So, stuff of that nature. Yeah, I'm recording this close to midnight. Don't judge. And luckily I haven't had any of the other dogs die since then, except for Roscoe. And I hope I don't have to do it for another couple of years. But I do understand what he goes through. And if any of you have a family member that you have passed away recently or something of that nature, I know what it feels like to some regard.
We've had no luck, and now with news slowly starting to get out that something may be wrong, we had no choice.
If some news is getting out something may be going wrong, he had no choice but to let us know. As fans, we would have spotted something. We know the editing styles between the editors if we've watched them a lot, so we'd be able to determine Ronnie's style from the other editor's style. So that's essentially it. So if we spot that something's wrong, we'll normally figure it out. And as he said, he had no luck getting a hold of Ronnie's family to let him know what happened. So he basically I'm not sure if this was the fans' fault, but he kind of got put into a position that he had to let us know.
Ronnie, in all the years that I knew him, dealt with demons that only he could understand. Scars left by a childhood that he kept under lock and key. Over the years, he would give me glimpses as to what he had gone through, but I never had a complete picture. What I can say is that he did his best to move on, to strike out on his own, to move beyond the trauma of his past, to take his mental health into his own hands and take his recovery seriously, one step at a time, every single day. That past also gave him a personality that was probably best described as an acquired taste. He was incredibly sharp and incredibly witty, but he also had this ability to cut through a person's facade in a way that was sometimes hilarious and sometimes a bit off-putting. Even after years of working with him, I would walk away from some conversations questioning whether I should be offended. Like, his sarcasm was so dry that there were times where it's like, was he joking? Or is he mad at me? Should I be offended right now? It's hard to tell sometimes. And it was that same personality that, understandably, sometimes got him into trouble with people who weren't familiar with that part of him, who didn't understand that that's the way he processed the world, that was the way he dealt with social situations, that he was a person with dark periods, who had a tendency to sometimes lash out with anger. And to anyone who saw that side of him, I am sorry. It wasn't an easy side to deal with, but that wasn't Ronnie. Ronnie wasn't an arrogant person. He was just socially unsure. He was unaware of how his behaviors would be perceived by others. I'm sorry that so few of you got to see the true Ronnie, Ronnie as he really was. The one who gave me a hug at the end of our Game Lab episode together. The one who took pride in his obscure internet trivia. The one who relished in every new dig that he would come up with for Kaijin Goomba. The one who would be so... Those moments were the true Ronnie. When he was unburdened by his past. When sunlight would peek through all the clouds.
I should also mention, and I shouldn't pause because I want that video to be over so I can express the real point. Because as you spotted, I am kind of being a little conscious of how much space I'm taking up now, but it's okay for him to be emotional on camera. If we were true fans, we would understand. And why he have to limit this to 12-minute video, I'm not sure. This could have been an hour, for all we care.
It would take a lot of patience to get there, and a lot of long conversations and phone calls. But when he got there, it was great, because you knew that it was honest, and it was genuine, and it was a person who was free. Ronnie told me once in the early days of the channel's history that it was his goal for his animations to be recognized, and for him to be influential as an artist. And if I were to tell him something right now, I would say you did it. That he achieved that goal. That the game theory style, and anyone who has ever mimicked the game theory style, or anyone who has ever had a show on these channels.
When he says mimic game theory style, I'm like him. Like, when I go on talking about when I tear down his theories, and I said this, I think I said this in the other video I made on this exact video, but I'm not taking out the editing. All the editors are trying to do is take Matt's words and, make them visually perceivable, because Matt doesn't take the time to, record stuff like that. He wants to write a script and record it so it can get out. It may not make sense talking as it would to see things. And all the editors are doing is just that, making it so we can see things visually. It would personally annoy me sometimes if they don't update some things, but this personally annoys me, And that's not nothing against them. That's just what they have to work with. What I do there is I take the script itself and I tear it down. Take Matt's words and his script and I tear it down. Editing? The editing is good. It's always good. But the theory itself, the part that I'm worried about and the part I tear down, is Matt's talking. Okay? I want to get that out of the way as quick as I can. The game theories that Boris Survive Clone, I took something that came up my random head. I tried drawing it in a scientific based style. I know that's not. If I did that theory again, I would not do that. But, yeah.
That was Ronnie's style. He was the person who created that. Over the years, we've had a lot of editors join the team because, Lord knows, it takes so long to make these episodes. And more often than not, they say that they were inspired by Ronnie and the work that he had done on the show. So I hope that at some point, deep down, he knew the impact that he had, and that he had achieved his goal.
Buddies are back.
My one regret is that I never took the opportunity to tell him how proud I was of him. Of how much he had evolved as an artist. Of how sophisticated he had become in his own voice. And how elaborate his animations had gotten. His work hasn't just had an impact here on this channel. His work has had an impact on the internet at large. And I hope that he saw what we all here saw. That he was an incredibly talented artist from day one until the day that we lost him. I think it's just one of those things that your mind gravitates towards in these sorts of situations, right? What you could have done.
Okay. I want to mention this to you, and I'll probably end the video after this because we all know that really that terrible symbol I hate. The storage system is really low. So I'm gonna end this now when I can. And I want to say, if you're ever thinking about self-harming or just ending your own life, look at this video and get help. And I'm not talking this video in general, the one you're watching right now. I'm talking about Matt's video. Matt's video only. Because not only does he have a whole entire list of stuff resources you can use, but your counselors are usually there for your safety, and they want to make sure that you have the best. So if one thing comes from this whole video shenanigan, I want to say, each and every one of you are special in your all some way, shape, or form. From, like, if you just watched the video to commenting, like, letting me know what you like and dislike about it, you know, I'm special because I am able to create these things, but everybody else is special too. We all have talents that we're all searching to find. We just have to unlock ourselves to find out who we really are and if people actually enjoy. And if people don't enjoy, heck with it. Because all that really matters is that you like it. You like who you are. And if you don't, try to be the image you want to be, not what everybody else wants you to be. Every single one of you is beautiful, talented, and special. That's all I can say. Now, hopefully, the next couple videos up over 2019 I will do on this are not that bad and not this long. Well, I'm not saying it's bad, but still. It's long and it's taking up a lot of my space, which, yeah, you can see is bad in my eyes. We're not going to have time to watch this whole thing because of that thing after under recording thing. That's the thing I hate. And I will try uploading this as soon as I can. I will upload as soon as I can because I want to make sure I free up space to record videos for you guys. So, yeah. I'm saying it in computer, so. Well, yes, but still. Use any of these links that are in their international list. And, yeah, that's why in a lot of my videos, I have a bad habit of not doing it now, but back in my older videos, and in descriptions and stuff, I would sign with "Stay Beautiful." That's about how every single one of you are beautiful in your some way, shape, or form. If you use that beautiful personality to a good cause. So that do not be trying to perceive if you are perceived bad. It's always good to find somebody. So, to keep this as short as I can, it's gone for way too long. Hope you guys have a beautiful day, and enjoy 2019. And